Okay, as promised, let's go take a look at the garden we put in 2022 and the garden we put in 2021. These are actually not anything we put in. These are Ceanothus leucodermis. These are our native Ceanothus, and they were eaten all the way down to the ground when we got here back in June of 2020, and put this fence around them so that the deer wouldn't eat the crap out of them. And now they're like big guys, and they actually bloom this year. This is a interior live oak. Suffered the same fate, and now that it's behind this cage, it's doing a lot better. So that's number one. Here's my wheelbarrow full of all the things that I don't want to have to walk back down to the garage for. We need to do a lot of irrigation work today, and today's also the day that we try to get these weeds under control, although that's a tall order. This is actually not the main garden either, but the sort of mini garden that we put in, which was where the mulch pile was sitting. I have to get water on these hummingbird sages ASAP. They actually bloomed this year. I put them in last year. They were little offshoots that I dug up from my friend Leslie's house. Thank you so much, Leslie. And this year they're blooming, so that's great. This was a Davidson's penstemon davidsonii. Most of it died except this little bit there that's still alive, and if I get water on it, maybe it will live. One goal is to put some drip system in here. This is a Mahonia, an Oregon grape, and it hasn't grown any bigger than this, even though it was put in 2021, and that is probably because it's getting eaten at the top. So I think I need to replace this cage with a bigger one and maybe fence it off at the top. All right, so this is where we put in all of the plants in 2022. This was last year's garden, which is right now like, oh my God, so many weeds, so much grass, such a mess. Let's go in over here, and then we'll do a little tour. So I fenced this entire area. There was somebody here, can't remember who it was, but that guy didn't make it. Over here we have a Salvia gracias. So this is what they can look like after a couple years. It's kind of dead in the middle, but it was in full bloom like 2 days ago. Not sure if it's dying in the middle because it's dehydrated. So that's one goal, is to get the irrigation system running today. This is a white sage, which is spiking out. It's gonna have actual blossom soon. Oh, the smell is amazing. So this is of course the sage that all of the new age people buy in the shops, although most of those sage bundles are actually ripped out of the foothills of Southern California, sort of poached sage, if you will. So don't buy those. This is a California redbud who is doing great. Again, oh my gosh, today is the day. Water is gonna happen today. I'm sorry, buddy. He actually has a little volunteer oak. I think it's a black oak that hitched a ride from the nursery down there at the base. There he is. See him right there. And really not suited for this environment, but I've just kind of let him hang out. He's getting a lot of water from the irrigation system. And over here, oh my gosh, these weeds, such a disaster. I've got miscellaneous poppies that I just threw seeds in last year, and it's kind of fun. They kind of popped up in the rocks. That's pretty cool. There's another white sage here. This one has not done great because there's a ground squirrel who lives right there and randomly just chucks dirt out of his house and buries the base of this white sage. But last year, I mean, these things will get huge. Later in the season, they'll be massive. Yeah, poppies all over the place. And this is a Winifred Gilman sage, notorious for their, excuse me, I gotta sneeze. Is it gonna be happening? Nope, okay. notorious for their red stems, as you can see. And this one is about to bloom. This is obviously one that blooms a little later in the season. You can kind of see some of the blooms here starting to pop. Really vibrant purple color, beautiful smell. All of these guys got absolutely mauled by aphids earlier in the season, but I think we got them under control. Over here, this is a Salvia gracias, which is just massive. Did great this year. Lots of blooms, which are mostly done now. Some more poppies over here. And this is my beautiful starlight sage, which is the queen of 2022. Went in out of a 1-gallon pot and just dominated this year. Also desperate for water. We have a ongoing aphid situation, looks like. Not quite as bad. Some of the other insects that sort of eat the aphids kind of caught up to them, and so now there's a little less. This was Dara's choice. Did not make it. I think it rotted this year. It was just so wet down here. There's another Salvia gracias over here that I think also rotted in the middle, or maybe it just got crowded out by all of the grasses. But there's still green shoots here, so I don't know. Maybe it will make it once I get rid of all this grass. So these are all year 2 plants. These were planted last season, so now they're much more mature. This is actually a thing. This is a native grass. This is purple needle grass. Oops, that just crumbled. Okay, I'll never know what that is again. I've got this video to refer to, I guess. But yeah, this is a California bunch grass native to the area, so can't really tell it apart from all this other crap that's in here. This is a hollyleaf redberry who lived here when we moved in and just got eaten to death. So now that it's caged, hopefully it will have a better shot. This is all just Spanish clover, native to the area. Volunteered for duty in this garden. Got more poppies, lots of poppies. I think I'm gonna put a hole in the drip line here and try to water them so that they can survive later into the season. There's lots of poppies all along the drip line. That's what I did. I spread them along the drip line so that they had a chance, because I can water them. And Salvia gracias, another one. I love these. It's like my favorite ground cover sage at this point. There's another one right there. They just do great in this area. And this over here is a Ceanothus dark star, which is not doing great. It is in an area that is far too shady, so not gonna make it. I still have another plant up here, which is a native grass that I hate. So I don't even remember what it is, but it's just not doing good here. So I'm thinking maybe hummingbird sage in this area. Maybe we just create another like patch of hummingbird sage. 2024 goals. This is a Howard McMinn manzanita, and it did great this year. It was struggling last year, but it's definitely popping up a little bit better this year. I do think it needs, I may put a taller cage around it just so that nobody can kind of dip their head in here and nibble on it like it's a salad bowl. Oh, I'm gonna get you water, I promise. California redbud again, okay? So that's the 2022 part of the garden. And then if we come over here, these are the plants that I put in 2021. So this is the original planting area. As you can see, I had much more mulch here. We just did some ad hoc mulch over there last year. It was nowhere near enough to keep the weeds from going crazy. But this is Salvia, I think it's, I'm not sure what the parentage is, but it's a Brandegee sage. And that is, they are just awesome. So this is year 3 for this guy. He's doing great. His beautiful white flowers, huge. This is a coyote mint, year 3, that we bought at a plant sale at Fresno State. So it's doing okay. It was not great last year. Cut it back, isn't blooming yet. I don't know how it's gonna do. Over here, this is my celestial blue sage, which is planted in an area that is entirely too shady, and it just hates it here. It has survived, but it's just not thriving. This is a bee's bliss, which are a very frequently used ground cover sage. And they're pretty cool. They're very low growing. And look at the size of that mat. It just kind of spreads out like wild. I do prefer the Gracias, the Salvia Gracias, over the Bee's Bliss sage. This is my queen of 2021. This is a Brandegee sage.
Could you try again?
I wasn't talking to you. So this is a Brandegee sage as well as the other one, and it has gotten super woody and absolutely gigantic. I love it. This is my monkey flower. That is, I think it's a Sierra monkey flower. Beautiful right now. It's gonna look absolutely disgusting soon because they don't look great once you get into the hot, dry season. They need a lot of water to stay green. But man, when it's in bloom, so lovely, really beautiful. This is a desert mallow of some kind that we planted on a whim. And I don't know just how delicious it is. And I don't know if we ever took down this fence, exactly what the deer would do. I suspect they would destroy it, but who can say? Who can say? And then over here, this struggled in this area. We've got 3 lovely deer grasses, just gigantic. They kind of need to be raked out, but pretty awesome nonetheless. So that's my 2021 garden and my 2022 garden in the back, which is doing great, kind of. Successes, failures, lots of lessons learned. Most important lesson, more mulch. When you think you have enough mulch, put more mulch down. And also, I think a lot of stuff just got outcompeted by these weeds this year, which is just not great. Let's go look at some wildflowers. Why not? While we're over here. Late season arrivals up at the top of the hill. Not quite as prolific as they were even yesterday or the day before. We're really starting to get into the heat of summer now, and so everything's about to go to bed. But yeah, these are Brodia, and there's a whole field of them. It was way more striking yesterday and the day before. They're about to call it quits, but they're awesome. I love them. And then over here, there was, so right over there, that's like our spider lupin fortress. There's so many of them earlier in the season. Right now there's just a few left hanging out. I love my lupins. It's like my favorite plant of the foothills. So still a few of them. And then this is, what are you? I suspect that's some sort of a Clarkia. And then over here, we had some stuff, which is almost everything is calling it quits. Lots of this, like, I think it's a Clarkia of some kind. I'm gonna have to turn off this video and identify it. Oh, and then over here, this is a bristly jewel flower, which is done, but you can still see the flower stalk, the raceme, I think they're called. I don't know what you were, but you were probably pretty cool when you were blooming. And there was a whole field of pretty face up here, which is now done. You can still see the yellow. They're pretty much spent, but they were wild and out. Just, oh, here's a jewel flower that's still doing a thing. Hey, bud. Cool. All right, this video is entirely too long, so I'm just gonna stop it there.